Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
What is going on, everyone? I go by RB, and this is Philly Take with RB. Now, if you have been enjoying the content of the channel, if you've been supporting the channel, please do me a favor real quick. Take a second and go ahead and smash that like button. Help your boys spread the content. And if you're new to the channel and you want to stay updated on some great Philly content, we'll go ahead and hit that subscribe. Now, today, I have a couple pieces of news, couple interviews I want to bring to you guys, kind of get your thoughts and opinions on them. Nothing too crazy. You know, in the next couple days here, I plan to do a couple videos, one talking about the Eagles running back position, maybe one talking about the wide receiver position and all the new guys and additions that we have. And, you know, just let me know some ideas down below of what you guys want to see during this period. Now, first and foremost, I want to talk about an interview that occurred earlier today. Now, Howie Roseman has gone on Sports Radio 94 WIP in Philadelphia the past couple days and just, you know, went into detail about some of the things that we've been questioning him on. So if you are a listener of 94 Sports Radio in Philadelphia, you would know Angelo Cataldi, and sometimes he goes overboard, but, you know, he's a straight shooter. He asks questions, a lot of things that, you know, us fans want to hear from the people themselves. So this morning, Howie Roseman went on and he was talking about the Eagles draft picks, you know, as a whole, how the draft went, the whole process, Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts, a whole bunch of good stuff. He was on for about 20 to 25 minutes. But right now I want to play a video clip from the interview this morning in which Angelo asks Howie Roseman about the idea of bringing Jalen Hurts in and about the impact and about the conversation that him and Doug Peterson had with Carson Wentz prior to doing so.
Now, Howie, you've been around the block a few times, and you know the quarterback position in this city. Yeah. When you are pondering Jalen Hurts, you have the presence of mind. You and Doug both call Carson. You anticipate that there's going to be a little ambivalence by him at bringing in a young, talented guy like Hurts, right? Can you tell us what you're thinking when you're talking to Carson about the possibility you're bringing in a top backup quarterback?
Well, it's not comfortable. You know, I'm going to always be honest with you guys. It's not comfortable because I get it. You know, what helps the team the most at this moment in his mind is probably a different player, a different position, because we have a great player there. But my job is different, and I don't want to kind of keep saying the same things I've said, but I believe in this. And, you know, when we make these kind of decisions, I talk to people that I really trust and that I've always relied on, that have won world championships, and I say, this is my thought process. You know, I got to do everything I can to make sure Carson Wentz is standing on that podium, holding that trophy. And it's funny, when I say that, I see it, man. I see it. I see him doing that. I really do, and I really believe that's going to happen. But I also got to make sure that this organization is protected, that our fans are protected, that his teammates are protected.
So as I mentioned, the whole interview will be linked down in the description below. Go ahead and check that out if you would like. And also, if you haven't seen my final thoughts on my final take on the Jalen Hurts selection, go ahead and check out my video from yesterday. You know, I'm not going to comment, you know, a lot more on the situation. All I will say, you know, overall as a whole, I don't agree with the pick, but Jalen Hurts is a Philadelphia Eagle. It is what it is. It's in the past, and I will support him, and I will support this team, and I hope Carson Wentz is able to stay healthy the entire year, and if he does, I believe he will have a great year and will be able to take this Philadelphia Eagles team deep in the playoffs. I'm not really worried about someone taking over his starting job, but I will have to continue to worry about the injury, you know, for sakes. And I hope Carson Wentz uses this instead of frustration. I hope he uses it as a sort of motivation. I hope he takes it in stride. I hope, you know, nobody has to butt heads. And I hope everything just flows smoothly. And I hope Wentz has a great year and Hurts is also able to contribute as well. But go ahead and let me know your thoughts down below on what Howie Roseman had to say regarding the situation. So the next thing I want to get into is something more on a bit of a positive note, and that is Josh McCown. Now, we all know Josh McCown, the backup quarterback from the team last year, a knowledgeable guy, a dude who is a key veteran who's been around for a lot of different teams, played for a lot of different systems, never really developed into that guy, but, you know, he's been a great mentor, especially a great mentor to Carson Wentz last year. We know what happened when Wentz went down in the playoff game. Mccown came in, he got injured as well, played through it, but just couldn't get the job done. But anyway, Mccown was on a Gridiron interview yesterday, and he was asked, a lot about the Eagles, especially about Carson Wentz and his mindset and some other things about the team. So I'm going to play the video clip right here so you can see what he had to say regarding Carson Wentz.
You know how it is awkward in Philly because of it's more of a fan thing. Nick Foles wins the Super Bowl, Carson Wentz hurt. There was this elephant in the room. Frankly, I thought the last 4 weeks last year, Carson answered all of those questions. 4-0, set the team to the playoffs, knocked out the Cowboys, beat everybody in the division, threw a pass to Miles Sanders in the Washington game that really answered any question you needed to know, and he gets hurt. And I just think that there's talk of the receivers saying things, all of these things. And I think a lot of people are worried about Carson's mindset and another guy entering the room. It's a fan perspective thing. What is Carson's mindset? And do fans need to worry about that?
I don't think so. And here's why. You said it. I go back to the last 4 weeks of the season last year when effectively he put the group on his back. And to me, when you can change the parts around you and continue to play at a high level and your level even goes up, that's when you start to scratch the surface of what we call the elite guys in our league. With these guys, and 4,000 yards without a receiver going over 500 is incredible. And I just thought down the stretch, he played at such a high level that his confidence is off the charts. It's a bummer how the playoff game worked out with the injury, but his mindset is, I just to bring in a second round quarter, I don't think that's a thing because he's in such a different place because of where he took the guys. And then you look at, okay, last year we took a relative group of unknowns and we made our way into the playoffs. Now we've added some young talent to that group, still unknown guys. All these rookies are still unknown guys. And if you deem those guys even more talented, then you're saying, okay, that's what we did with some guys that we were just yanking off the street as people fell off. Now we've drafted some guys that are 4-3 guys. They added Goodwin, all this stuff. All of a sudden now you're going, okay, Carson, if you can work that magic that you did for the last 4 weeks, what can you do with these?
Now, I love Josh McCown. I've been highly vocal of him as a person and a player, and the impact that he had on guys, especially like Carson Wentz last year. Real quick, let me know down below in the comments, would you consider bringing Josh McCown back for some type of offensive role, whether it's a quarterback's coach or an offensive, support assistant type of dude to help mentor these guys like Carson Wentz? Let me know down below. I loved what McCown had to say regarding Wentz and his mindset, his mentality, how he elevated and how he showed that leadership last year, down in the clutch situations, in the stretch. It's pretty much the same things that I've been saying. And, like McCown said, he's answered all the questions. And, McCown is just a great dude. And I love how he was able to be there for Wentz. I loved every clip they showed, whether it's a big touchdown. McCown's the first one, 40 years old, busting it down the sideline to go celebrate. He's a great locker room dude. Most of the time he was holding the clipboard and, helping these guys out. And when he had his chance to come back in, obviously he was rusty, he was old of age, and he was just slow. But from a mind perspective, a football knowledge, IQ type of dude, I mean, the guy is smart. I know last year he even coached in North Carolina, a high school team, and would come down for the games on the weekends. I love Josh McCown. I'm all in on him, and I am definitely all in on bringing him back in some type of coaching role just to give him, his foot in the door and really help these guys out. Let me know what you guys think down below. And then the last piece of news that I want to dive into today is something, on the similar topic of Carson Wentz, but on the opposite side of the spectrum, and that was from former Eagles quarterback Donovan McNabb. Real quick, I'm going to go play the audio clip so you can hear what Donovan McNabb had to say regarding the Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts situation.
They want to say, oh, Carson doesn't, Carson's upset. I don't care what nobody says. Listen, I am the guy. You just paid me sizable amount of money. Everything that you do in the facility, you come to me and talk about. And all of a sudden now I'm not even paying attention and we draft a quarterback.
Now, we all know Donovan McNabb, former Eagles quarterback who had a good amount of success during his time with the Eagles, but he's also had his fair share of criticisms as well, both on the field and off, especially after his playing days. And, Donovan was the guy that would always get the Eagles to the big game, but can never get the job done. And even though he went through the same situation that Carson is kind of going through now in terms of, being neglected of the weapons needed, being neglected of having that big time receiver, I just think for McNabb to come out and say this now is crazy, given some of the things that he said, especially in the last year or two about Carson Wentz. Now, if you don't know, last year, I think it was just over a year ago, Donovan McNabb talked about Carson Wentz and was saying that if he doesn't bring the Eagles to the NFC Championship in the next year or two, or I think it was 2 to 3 years, he said, then the Eagles should consider drafting another quarterback. Now, guess what, Donovan? Your wish, your statement, whatever, it came true. It came true. The Eagles took Hurts in the second round. So for now, for you to come out and say that Carson Wentz is angry, that the team doesn't consider him in decisions, that he's frustrated. And by the way, Howie Roseman on the 94 WIP Sports Radio interview this morning, he did say that he's pretty sure Donovan hasn't been talking to Carson or anything like that. So it's probably just noise. It's probably just McNabb, giving what he feels inside. But I think it's just crazy for you to come out and say something like that, especially being a guy that could never do it yourself, especially being a guy who's had a voice here in Philly. It's like every time this guy talks, he just makes things worse. And you should be wanting to coach up. You should be wanting to motivate the guy who could potentially do something that you were never able to accomplish yourself in the city of Philadelphia. If you are really, an Eagles guy, if you're really an Eagles supporter, and, talk about making a situation worse. Let me tell you, I agree with some of the things that McNabb was saying. I do agree that Wentz is probably frustrated in some way. He's probably is mad about the situation. But when you're Donovan McNabb and you've said some controversial things before, and now you're coming out and it's almost like he's stirring up the pie. He's making it a little bit worse. And I just don't agree with that. And even if Carson Wentz is mad, you shouldn't be the one coming out and saying that now, especially when you have said the Eagles should go and draft another quarterback. But that's just my opinion on it. But yeah, guys, like I said, everything will be linked down in the description below if you want to go ahead and take a look at it further. I just wanted to bring you guys a couple pieces of news today, let you know what's going on. Like I said, we'll be continuing to pump out content. I appreciate you guys for your continued support. And let me know all your thoughts down below on what you heard today. Let me know your thoughts on the Carson Wentz situation and what Howie Roseman said and Mccown and McNabb and everything. Let me know all your thoughts down below. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Perfect. Perfect.